The dog dug behind the house. What it unearthed shocked the entire town. The rhythmic crash of waves against the rocky cliffs provided a constant soundtrack to Arthur's solitary existence. He sat in his worn armchair by the window, a book open in his lap, his gaze drifting between the pages and the endless expanse of the Atlantic Ocean that stretched beyond his small backyard. The salty air, laced with the scent of seaweed and pine needles, filled his senses, a familiar comfort that had enveloped him since childhood. He had grown up in this old house, perched precariously on the cliffs overlooking the sea, its weathered shingles and creaking floorboards echoing the passage of time, the whispers of generations past. Arthur, a retired librarian, had always found solace in the company of books, their pages offering worlds of adventure, knowledge, and escape. He had spent his life surrounded by stories, his mind a vast library of tales both real and imagined. But since the passing of his beloved wife, Eleanor, the silence of the house had become a constant companion, a reminder of the void left by her absence. He missed her laughter, her gentle touch, her shared love for the sea that had bound them together for over 50 years. He would often sit by the window, his gaze lost in the horizon, his memories a bittersweet symphony of joy and sorrow. He would recall their walks along the beach, their hands intertwined, their footsteps leaving fleeting imprints in the sand, washed away by the relentless tides. He would remember their evenings spent reading aloud to each other, their voices mingling with the sound of the waves, their shared stories weaving a tapestry of love and companionship. He would cherish the moments they had spent watching the sunsets, their vibrant hues painting the sky in a masterpiece of fleeting beauty, their shared silence a testament to the depth of their connection. Now, alone in the house that had once echoed with their laughter, Arthur found solace in the rhythm of his solitary life. He would wake with the sunrise, its golden rays filtering through the lace curtains, casting a warm glow over the worn furniture and the stacks of books that lined the walls. He would brew a pot of strong coffee, its aroma filling the quiet kitchen, a comforting ritual that marked the start of his day. He would spend his mornings reading, his mind lost in the worlds created by words, his imagination a refuge from the loneliness that often crept into his heart. He would venture into town for groceries, his cane tapping a steady rhythm against the cobblestone streets, his exchanges with the shopkeepers a brief respite from his solitude. He would return home, his bags filled with provisions, his heart heavy with the silence that awaited him. He would spend his afternoons tending to his small garden, his hands coaxing life from the soil, his efforts a tribute to Eleanor's love for the vibrant blooms that had once filled their backyard with color and fragrance. As evening approached, he would prepare a simple meal, the familiar routine a comfort in the face of his solitary existence. He would eat in silence, the empty chair across from him a stark reminder of his loss. He would spend his evenings reading by the fire, the flames casting dancing shadows on the walls, the crackling logs a counterpoint to the rhythmic crash of the waves against the cliffs. He would retire to bed, the sea's lullaby easing him into a restless sleep, his dreams filled with images of Eleanor, her smile a beacon in the darkness, her love a lingering warmth in the cold expanse of his empty bed. The routine, once a comforting anchor in Arthur's life, had begun to feel monotonous, a repetitive cycle that underscored the emptiness of his days. He longed for a spark, a change, something to disrupt the predictable flow of his solitary existence. One blustery afternoon, as he was browsing the shelves of the local bookstore, a flyer caught his eye. It depicted a scruffy terrier mix, its eyes pleading, its tail wagging hopefully. "Adopt a friend," the flyer proclaimed, its message resonating with a longing that had been stirring within Arthur's heart. He had always loved animals, had shared his home with a succession of cats and dogs throughout his life with Eleanor. But since her passing, the thought of caring for another creature had seemed overwhelming, a responsibility he felt ill-equipped to handle in his grief-stricken state. Yet, the image of the dog on the flyer tugged at his heartstrings, its hopeful expression mirroring a yearning within him, a desire for companionship, a need to nurture and care for another living being. He decided to visit the animal shelter, his curiosity piqued. His heart opened to the possibility of a new connection. The shelter, a modest building nestled on the outskirts of town, was filled with the sounds of barking and meowing, a cacophony of eager voices vying for attention. Arthur, his cane tapping a steady rhythm against the concrete floor, navigated the rows of kennels, his eyes scanning the hopeful faces, his heart searching for a connection. He paused by a kennel at the far end of the room, his gaze drawn to a small, scruffy terrier mix, its fur a patchwork of brown and white, its eyes a deep, soulful brown. The dog sat quietly, its tail thumping gently against the concrete floor, its gaze fixed on Arthur with an intensity that seemed to pierce through his loneliness. Arthur knelt beside the kennel, his hand reaching through the wire mesh, his fingers gently stroking the dog's head. The dog leaned into his touch, its body trembling slightly, its eyes closing with a sigh of contentment. He felt a surge of warmth, a connection to this creature that seemed to mirror his own quiet spirit, his own yearning for companionship. He inquired about the dog, learning that it had been found wandering the streets, its past a mystery, its future uncertain. He decided to take the dog home, his heart filled with a tentative hope, a sense of anticipation for the change this new companion might bring into his life. He named the dog Scout, a name that evoked a sense of adventure, a spirit of exploration, a reminder of the journeys they might embark on together. He led Scout out of the shelter, the dog trotting by his side, his tail wagging excitedly, his eyes bright with a newfound sense of purpose. As they walked towards home, the setting sun casting long shadows across the quiet streets, Arthur felt a lightness in his step, a spark of joy igniting within him, a sense of anticipation for the chapters that lay ahead, the story of their shared journey waiting to be written. Scout's arrival brought a whirlwind of unexpected energy into Arthur's quiet world. The old house, once filled with the hushed whispers of memories, now echoed with the joyful patter of paws and the playful barks of a dog rediscovering the joys of life. Arthur, initially overwhelmed by Scout's boundless enthusiasm, found himself adapting to the new rhythm. His days punctuated by walks along the beach, games of fetch in the backyard, and cozy evenings spent with Scout curled up at his feet by the fire. Scout, with his inquisitive nature and boundless energy, explored every nook and cranny of the house and its surroundings. He chased butterflies in the garden, barked at the seagulls soaring overhead, and sniffed every blade of grass with an insatiable curiosity. One day, while Arthur was tending to his vegetable patch, he noticed Scout digging furiously in a far corner of the yard, his small body a blur of motion, his paws sending dirt flying in all directions. Arthur, amused by the dog's antics, chuckled, his voice carrying across the yard. "What have you found there, Scout?" he called out, his curiosity piqued. Scout, his digging momentarily interrupted, looked up at Arthur, his tail wagging excitedly, his eyes sparkling with a mischievous glint. He returned to his task with renewed vigor, his paws excavating the earth with a determination that surprised Arthur. Intrigued, Arthur made his way towards Scout, his cane tapping a steady rhythm against the uneven ground. He peered into the hole, his brow furrowing as he noticed the depth and intensity of Scout's excavation. "What is it, boy?" he asked, his voice filled with curiosity. "What have you found?" Scout, his digging reaching a fever pitch, let out a triumphant bark, his paws unearthing a small wooden box, its surface dark with age and decay. Arthur, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and apprehension, knelt beside the hole, his eyes fixed on the unearthed treasure. He carefully retrieved the box, its weight surprisingly heavy, the surface rough and damp. He brushed away the dirt, revealing the intricate carvings that adorned its lid, the delicate patterns hinting at a forgotten craftsmanship. He carried the box inside, his mind racing with questions, his curiosity piqued by the mystery surrounding its origins. He placed it on the kitchen table, its presence a stark contrast to the familiar clutter of teacups and books. He fetched a small knife from the drawer, its blade glinting in the afternoon light, and carefully pried open the box's lid. His breath caught in his throat as he peered inside, his eyes widening with surprise and a touch of trepidation. The box contained a collection of old letters, their envelopes yellowed and brittle, their ink faded but still legible. Beneath the letters lay a stack of photographs, their images capturing faces both familiar and unknown, their expressions frozen in time, their stories waiting to be told. And at the bottom of the box, nestled amongst the letters and photographs, lay a small, leather-bound diary, its pages filled with faded ink, its words a whisper from the past, a secret waiting to be unearthed. Arthur, his heart pounding with a mix of curiosity and trepidation, carefully lifted the diary from the box, its leather cover soft and worn, its pages filled with the faded ink of a bygone era. He opened it gently, his fingers tracing the delicate script, his eyes deciphering the words that whispered secrets from the past. The diary belonged to a young woman named Clara, her entries chronicling her life in the small coastal town, her words painting a vivid picture of a bygone era, a time of hardship and resilience, of love and loss. Arthur, captivated by Clara's story, found himself transported back in time, his imagination filling in the gaps between the lines, his heart resonating with the emotions that poured from the pages. Clara wrote of her childhood in the old house, her descriptions mirroring Arthur's own memories, her words bringing the past to life with a vividness that startled him. She spoke of her love for the sea, her fascination with the tides, her dreams of a life beyond the confines of their small town. She wrote of her family, her parents, her siblings, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of the sea, their livelihoods dependent on the unpredictable bounty of the ocean. She described the hardships they faced, the storms that threatened their homes, the lean years when the fish were scarce, the constant struggle for survival that defined their existence. She also wrote of her first love, a young fisherman named Daniel, their romance blossoming amidst the salty air and the crashing waves. But her entries also hinted at a secret, a hidden sorrow that cast a shadow over her happiness. She wrote of whispered conversations, of furtive glances, of a fear that gnawed at her heart. She spoke of a choice she had to make, a decision that would change the course of her life, a secret that she carried within her like a hidden burden. Arthur, his curiosity piqued, his heart aching for Clara's unspoken pain, delved deeper into the diary, his mind racing with questions, his determination growing with each passing page. He felt a connection to Clara, a kinship that transcended time, a shared love for the old house, the sea, the town that held their stories within its weathered walls. He vowed to uncover the truth behind Clara's secret, to unravel the mystery that lay hidden within the diary's pages, to bring closure to a story that had been buried for decades, its whispers echoing through the corridors of time. The diary became Arthur's obsession. He pored over its pages, deciphering the faded ink, piecing together the fragments of Clara's life, his heart aching for the young woman whose story unfolded with each turn of the page. He felt a kinship with Clara, a connection that transcended time. They had both grown up in the same house, had walked the same beaches, had breathed the same salty air. He felt her presence in the creaking floorboards, in the whisper of the wind through the eaves, in the rhythmic crash of the waves against the cliffs. He began to research Clara's life, his librarian instincts kicking in, his quest for knowledge leading him down a rabbit hole of historical records and local lore. He visited the town archives, his fingers tracing the dusty pages of old census records, newspaper clippings, and forgotten documents. He discovered that Clara had lived in the house during the early 1900s, a time of hardship and change for the small coastal town. He learned that her family had been prominent members of the community, their livelihood tied to the sea, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of the tides. He found records of her parents, her siblings, their names etched in the faded ink of birth certificates and marriage licenses, their stories hinted at in the brief obituaries that marked their passing. But there was no mention of Daniel, the young fisherman who had captured Clara's heart, No record of their love. No trace of their shared dreams. Arthur's curiosity deepened, his determination to uncover the truth growing with each passing day. He visited the local cemetery, his footsteps crunching on the gravel paths, his eyes scanning the weathered headstones, searching for Clara's final resting place. He found her grave, a simple marker bearing her name and the dates of her birth and death. But there was no mention of a husband, no inscription of a shared love, no indication of the life she had lived, the secrets she had carried. He returned to the diary, his fingers tracing the faded ink, his mind searching for clues, his heart aching for the young woman whose story remained shrouded in mystery. He reread her entries, his focus now sharpened, his intuition guiding him towards the unspoken truths that lay hidden between the lines. He noticed a recurring theme in her writing, a subtle shift in her tone, a growing sense of anxiety that permeated her words. She wrote of whispered conversations, of furtive glances, of a fear that gnawed at her heart. She spoke of a choice she had to make, a decision that would change the course of her life, a secret that she carried within her like a hidden burden. Arthur, his intuition peaked, his heart pounding with anticipation, felt the pieces of the puzzle falling into place. He sensed a hidden truth, a tragic secret that had been buried for decades, its echoes lingering in the whispers of the wind, the crashing of the waves, the very walls of the old house that had witnessed Clara's life unfold. He knew that he was on the verge of uncovering a story that would not only shed light on Clara's past, but would also reveal a hidden chapter in the town's history, a truth that had been buried for generations, its impact rippling through the lives of those who had come after her. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, Arthur delved deeper into the history of his small town, seeking clues to unravel the mystery surrounding Clara's life. He spent hours in the local library, poring over dusty archives, deciphering faded newspaper articles, and tracing the lineage of families whose roots intertwined with the town's founding. He discovered that Clara's family, the McGregors, had been prominent figures in the community, their influence extending from the bustling fishing wharves to the quiet halls of the town council. He learned of their contributions to the town's growth, their resilience in the face of economic hardship and natural disasters, their legacy etched into the very foundation of the community. But as he delved deeper into their history, he also uncovered whispers of scandal, rumors of a forbidden love affair, and a hushed-up tragedy that had shaken the town to its core. He found oblique references to a young woman who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances, her fate a source of speculation and hushed whispers among the older generation. Arthur, his intuition sharpened by years of deciphering hidden meanings within the pages of books, connected the dots, his heart pounding with a growing sense of dread. He suspected that the missing woman was none other than Clara, her secret love affair, her unspoken sorrow, and her tragic fate now emerging from the shadows of the past. He sought out the town's oldest residents, their memories a treasure trove of forgotten stories, their perspectives offering glimpses into a bygone era. He listened intently as they shared their recollections of Clara, their voices a mix of admiration and sadness, their words painting a picture of a young woman who had defied societal norms, her spirit yearning for a life beyond the confines of their small town. They spoke of her love for Daniel, a young fisherman from a rival family, their romance a forbidden passion that defied the rigid social boundaries of their time. They whispered of a secret rendezvous, a hidden tryst that resulted in an unplanned pregnancy, a scandal that threatened to shatter the fragile peace between the two families. They recounted the tragic events that followed, Clara's sudden disappearance, the whispers of a forced separation, the rumors of a child given up for adoption, the lingering questions that had haunted the town for generations. Arthur, his heart aching for Clara's plight, his mind reeling from the weight of the secrets he had unearthed, felt a profound sense of responsibility to bring her story to light, to honor her memory, to offer a measure of closure to a life cut short by tragedy and shrouded in mystery. He returned to the old house, its walls now whispering with the echoes of Clara's past, its rooms filled with the ghosts of her unspoken sorrows. He sat by the window, his gaze drawn to the restless sea, its waves crashing against the cliffs, their rhythmic roar a constant reminder of the relentless passage of time, the secrets it held, the stories it whispered. He knew that he had stumbled upon a truth that would not only reshape his understanding of his own family history, but would also challenge the very foundations of the town's identity, forcing them to confront the shadows of their past, the echoes of a love story that had been silenced for far too long. Armed with a newfound understanding of Clara's tragic story, Arthur felt a sense of urgency to share his findings, to bring her hidden truth to light, to offer a measure of closure to a life cut short by the weight of societal expectations and family secrets. He began by approaching the town's historian, a wizened old man named Mr. Hawthorne, whose knowledge of local lore was as vast and intricate as the roots of the ancient oak tree that stood sentinel in the town square. He shared with Mr. Hawthorne the contents of Clara's diary, the letters, the photographs, the whispers of a forbidden love and a hidden child. Mr. Hawthorne, his eyes twinkling with a mix of sadness and recognition, listened intently, his weathered face etched with the weight of the town's unspoken history. He confirmed the rumors that had swirled around Clara's disappearance, the hushed-up scandal that had tarnished the McGregor family name, the whispers of a forced adoption, a child sent away to protect the family's reputation. He shared with Arthur the details that had been carefully concealed for decades, the names of those involved, the locations where the events had unfolded, the lingering questions that had haunted the town's collective memory. Arthur, his heart heavy with the weight of this revelation, felt a surge of determination to bring Clara's story to light, to honor her memory, to challenge the societal norms that had silenced her voice and condemned her to a life of secrecy and sorrow. He approached the local newspaper editor, a woman with a sharp mind and a compassionate heart, her pen a powerful tool for exposing injustice and giving voice to the voiceless. He shared Clara's story, the diary entries, the photographs, the whispers of a love denied and a child hidden away. The editor, her eyes filled with a mix of shock and admiration, recognized the significance of Arthur's discovery, the potential for healing and reconciliation that lay within Clara's tragic tale. She promised to publish the story, to give Clara a voice, to shed light on the town's buried shame. The article, their voices a chorus of whispers and exclamations as they discussed the revelations, their hearts touched by Clara's plight, their minds grappling with the weight of their shared history. The McGregor family, their name once synonymous with honor and respectability, now faced the scrutiny of a community awakened to the truth of their past actions. They issued a public apology, their words expressing regret for the pain they had caused, their acknowledgement of the injustice they had inflicted upon Clara and her child. The town, its foundations shaken by the unearthed secrets, embarked on a journey of introspection and healing. They organized community forums, their voices rising in a chorus of condemnation for the societal norms that had silenced Clara, their determination to create a more inclusive and compassionate community echoing through the streets and alleyways. They planned a memorial service for Clara, their desire to honor her memory, to acknowledge her suffering, to celebrate her spirit, a testament to the transformative power of truth and the enduring strength of human connection. The revelation of Clara's story ignited a firestorm of emotions within the small town. The once peaceful community, its foundations built on tradition and a shared sense of history, now grappled with the unsettling truth that had been buried for so long. The McGregor family, their name once synonymous with respectability and influence, faced the scrutiny of a town awakened to the injustice they had inflicted upon Clara. Their carefully constructed facade of virtue crumbled, revealing the hypocrisy and cruelty that had lurked beneath the surface. The townsfolk, their hearts heavy with a mix of shame and anger, questioned their own complicity in perpetuating the societal norms that had silenced Clara's voice and condemned her to a life of secrecy and sorrow. They had turned a blind eye to the whispers, had accepted the official narrative, had failed to protect one of their own. Arthur, his voice now amplified by the town's collective awakening, became a catalyst for change, his words echoing through the streets and alleyways, challenging the long-held beliefs and prejudices that had shaped their community. He spoke at town hall meetings, his voice trembling with emotion, his words painting a vivid picture of Clara's life, her love for Daniel, her dreams for a future denied, her tragic fate a consequence of their collective silence. He organized gatherings in the town square, the old oak tree a silent witness to their shared grief and determination to forge a new path. A community built on compassion, inclusivity, and a respect for the voices that had been silenced for far too long. The townsfolk, their hearts stirred by Arthur's passionate pleas, their consciences awakened by the weight of their shared history, embarked on a journey of introspection and reconciliation. They questioned the values that had guided their lives, the traditions that had shaped their community, the unspoken rules that had bound them to a past that no longer served them. They organized book clubs. Their discussions centered around themes of social justice, equality, and the power of individual voices to challenge the status quo. They formed support groups for those who had suffered in silence, their shared experiences creating a tapestry of healing and empowerment. They initiated outreach programs, their efforts focused on educating the younger generation about the importance of empathy, acceptance, and the courage to speak out against injustice. They created scholarships in Clara's name, their contributions a testament to their commitment to fostering a future where every voice was heard, every story valued, every life cherished. The town, once a microcosm of societal norms and unspoken prejudices, now embraced a new identity, a community transformed by the unearthed secrets of the past, their collective spirit renewed by the determination to create a more just and compassionate future. And at the heart of this transformation stood Arthur, the quiet librarian, his voice now a beacon of hope, his actions a testament to the power of one individual to spark change, to challenge the status quo, to honor the memory of a young woman whose story had been buried for far too long. Spring blossomed, painting the town in vibrant hues of renewal, the air filled with the fragrance of blooming lilacs and the cheerful melodies of birdsong. The townsfolk, their spirits lifted by the season's promise, gathered in the town square, their faces a mix of anticipation and solemnity. Today was the day they would unveil a memorial to Clara McGregor, a tribute to the young woman whose story had awakened their conscience, challenged their values, and inspired a transformation within their community. The old oak tree, its branches now adorned with fresh green leaves, stood sentinel over the gathering, its presence a silent witness to the town's history, its roots intertwined with the lives of those who had come before. Arthur, his heart filled with a mix of sadness and gratitude, stood before the crowd, his cane resting beside him, his gaze sweeping over the faces of his friends and neighbors, their presence a testament to the enduring power of Clara's story. He spoke of Clara's life, her love for the sea, her dreams for a future denied, her tragic fate a consequence of the societal norms that had silenced her voice. He shared excerpts from her diary, her words echoing through the square, her spirit finding a voice after decades of silence. He spoke of the town's reckoning with its past, the collective shame and regret that had fueled their determination to create a more just and compassionate community. He praised their efforts to honor Clara's memory, their commitment to ensuring that her story would serve as a catalyst for change, a reminder of the importance of empathy, acceptance, and the courage to speak out against injustice. He then unveiled the memorial, a simple stone bench nestled beneath the oak tree, its inscription a tribute to Clara's spirit, in memory of Clara McGregor, whose love for this town and its people was silenced but never forgotten. May her story inspire us to embrace compassion, challenge injustice, and cherish the voices that have been silenced for far too long. The townsfolk, their eyes filled with tears, their hearts touched by the inscription's poignant message, gathered around the bench, their touch a silent tribute to Clara's memory, their presence a testament to the enduring power of her story. They placed flowers on the bench, their vibrant colors a symbol of hope and renewal, their fragrance a tribute to the beauty of a life cut short. They shared stories of their own experiences, their voices a chorus of empathy and understanding, their words weaving a tapestry of shared humanity. They vowed to carry Clara's legacy forward, their commitment to creating a more inclusive and compassionate community echoing through the square, their actions a testament to the transformative power of truth and the enduring strength of human connection. Arthur, his heart filled with a sense of peace and fulfillment, watched as the townsfolk gathered around the memorial, their presence a testament to the impact Clara's story had had on their lives. He knew that her spirit would forever be a part of their community, her memory a guiding light in their quest for a more just and compassionate world. The discovery of Clara's diary and the unveiling of her memorial marked a turning point in Arthur's life. The quiet solitude that had enveloped him since Eleanor's passing gradually gave way to a renewed sense of purpose, a connection to the community, and a deeper appreciation for the enduring power of stories. He continued his daily walks through the town square, his cane tapping a familiar rhythm against the cobblestones, his gaze now encompassing the faces of his neighbors with a newfound warmth and understanding. He would often pause by Clara's memorial bench, his hand gently stroking the smooth stone, his thoughts a silent conversation with the young woman whose story had touched his heart. He would recall the mystery that Scout had unearthed, the dog's persistent digging revealing a hidden chapter in the town's history, a tale of love, loss, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. He would smile as he remembered Scout's playful antics, his boundless energy a constant source of joy, his loyal companionship a balm to his loneliness. He would think of the townsfolk, their faces etched with a mix of sorrow and determination as they gathered around Clara's memorial, their voices echoing with a commitment to create a more just and compassionate community. He would feel a sense of pride in the role he had played in bringing Clara's story to light, his actions a testament to the power of one individual to spark change, to challenge the status quo, to honor the memory of those who had been silenced. He would cherish the newfound connections he had forged with his neighbors, their shared stories weaving a tapestry of community, their support a comforting presence in his life. He would find joy in the simple pleasures of their company, the shared meals, the laughter-filled conversations, the quiet moments of reflection that deepened their bonds. He would embrace the remaining chapters of his life with a renewed sense of purpose, his heart filled with gratitude for the unexpected journey that had led him to uncover the secrets of the past, to heal the wounds of the present, and to embrace a future filled with hope and connection. He would continue to visit the library, his fingers tracing the spines of countless books, his mind a treasure trove of stories waiting to be discovered. He would share his love of reading with the children of the town, his voice bringing the pages to life, his passion igniting their imaginations, his wisdom guiding them towards a future filled with knowledge and understanding. He would tend to his garden, his hands coaxing life from the soil, his efforts a tribute to Eleanor's memory, her love for the vibrant blooms a constant reminder of their shared passion for the beauty of the natural world. He would walk along the beach with Scout, their footsteps leaving fleeting imprints in the sand, washed away by the relentless tides, their shared presence a testament to the enduring power of companionship, the healing power of nature, and the unwavering bond between a man and his dog. And as the sun set on his life, casting a golden glow over the familiar landscape, Arthur would find peace in the knowledge that he had lived a life filled with purpose. His story intertwined with the stories of those who had come before, his legacy etched into the heart of the town he had loved, his memory a whisper on the wind, a gentle wave lapping against the shores of time.